Well, from Western Australia, we are going up to the Northern Hemisphere, up to Canada, to a place called Newfoundland, which actually I know a couple of people that came from Newfoundland, but a lot of Australians don't really know. Joining me today is the chairman of Matador Mining, Ian Murray. Many of you will know Ian. He was formerly with Gold Road and has many, many years of experience in the industry. And joining Ian is the new exploration manager, Warren Potma. Welcome to you both, guys.
Thank you, Kerry.
Well, first of all, I didn't say ASX code, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is MZZ. MZZ is the ASX code. And I really wanted to delve into Newfoundland. It's an area that I didn't really understand, Ian. And if we go back to your history with Gold Road and the Yamana Gold Belt, do you remember back in the day when everyone said, you're crazy and what are you doing out there? And now Gold Road is doing extraordinarily well. What was it that attracted you to become chairman of Matador Mining?
So Kerry, in March, April last year, I was called in by some of the shareholders of Matador Mining. They wanted a new board. Initially, I knew nothing about it because this is not an Australian project, but I went in, had the meeting, did a bit of due diligence, looked at what they had. And to me, this is exactly what you mentioned that Gold Road had on the Yamana belt back in 2006, 2007, when they listed. Here you've got a company in one of the sought after jurisdictions in Canada, Newfoundland, which is undergoing an exploration renaissance. Here's a company that controls the major part of a very pregnant with gold shear zone called the Cape Ray Shear. And this company controls 120 strike kilometers of this shear zone. There's already 840,000 ounces in resource. North of us, there's a company called Marathon Gold, which has got the Valentine Lake Project, which is 4 million ounces of gold, and that's on the Cape Ray Shear as well. So very prospective area, very undervalued company, and I could see the exploration potential of doing proper systematic exploration across this prolific belt.
You've got there's a couple that are out there. How did you come across this particular, not Matador Mining? So how did they get the tenements? Because I think you were saying before that it's very difficult to get the size of land holding that you've got, and it seems to me that you've got a very sizable package up there.
Yeah, so the guys involved in Matador originally were looking for projects to invest in. Obviously at that, so we're talking 4 or 5 years ago. Projects in Australia were expensive. Projects in Africa were regarded as high risk. And projects in Canada, because remember there was a cannabis boom and all the money that was going into natural resources had flown into the cannabis sector. So resource projects and resource projects not producing cash flow were very undervalued in Canada. So the guys went across, picked up, heard about this project, did their due diligence, and then vended it into Matador Mining. So Matador is very, very fortunate that 4 years later, with the gold price of 1850 or wherever the US dollar gold price is today, they've got this a large portion of what is turning out to be a very prolific gold shear zone in a very low risk jurisdiction with a very supportive government and very supportive local communities.
In terms of what's it like in winter? I just have to ask this question because behind you is a picture of the area, and it looks lovely and green. But are there any challenges during the drilling times that it gets too damn cold and covered with snow?
Yeah, so as a junior company, we've chosen up to now to drill through the summer months. So in 2020, we drilled from July through until late November. In 2021, we're looking at starting the program earlier. They've had a milder winter than normal. So we're looking at starting early second quarter and carrying on again to November. It's not as cold as mainland Canada. That's a big difference. However, given that it's on the Atlantic Ocean, it gets a lot of wind. So 100 kilometers an hour wind is regarded as normal over there. It's not an issue. It's not a concern. It's normal. So that's the one challenge is the weather in terms of wind conditions. So you need the right equipment, drilling equipment for winter versus what you would use in summer. So we are looking at the end of the 2021 season, doing a winter drill program but we just need to give the companies we work with enough notice so they can source and equip their equipment up to work through winter.
Now, Ian, you mentioned a moment ago Marathon Gold and Newfoundland Gold, a couple of the people over there. I'm assuming they're all TSX listed. Are you guys the only ASX listed company up in this prolific area?
Yes, yes. So you've had this land grab going on over the last 12 months in Newfoundland, where any tenement is being picked up by the Canadians. Fortunately, we've been there for 4 years, so we've got what's regarded as the most exciting bit of the Cape Ray shear. So right in the north, Newfoundland Gold has a market cap of around 600 million Canadian. Marathon Gold's got a market cap of about $500 million. The one to the south of that on the image, Hope Brook, is a shutdown mine that operated, I think, until about 20 years ago. So you've got a number of large value companies over there doing exploration and project development. And then you've got this lone ASX company that's got very good tenement, getting very good exploration results. And it's for the Australian investors, the most efficient way for them to get exposure to Newfoundland gold exploration is through Matador.
Well, you mentioned exploration results. It's probably a good time for me to talk to Warren as the exploration manager. Let's talk about some of the work that you've been doing up there and why investors should start to really take notice of Matador Mining and what you're doing. I think this is your third drill season, Warren?
Yeah, not for me, but for the company, absolutely. I joined in August last year. Joined for much the same reasons as Ian suggested. I've spent plenty of time in the goldfields of Western Australia and in various gold jurisdictions around the world, and I've never seen a project that had this much prospectivity that this project has with so little drilling. The area is kind of unique in that we have already got some good resources. All of those resources were discovered from outcropping vein systems, basically from rock chips at surface. But most of the tenement package is covered by a very sort of thin veneer of glacial till and organic material. When I say thin, I'm talking about, you could scrape it off with a shovel to maybe on average 5 or 6 meters deep. But that's never been effectively explored through. So if it hadn't been drilled with a diamond drill, it effectively hadn't been tested. The only work that had been done by our predecessors was surface sampling for soils and some till sampling, but that's only partially effective. It doesn't sample what's going on at the basement. And we're very lucky, or it's very fortuitous for us that our depth of this cover is very shallow compared to a lot of our peers. So we're able to get in there with person portable little backpack drill rigs and other gear that enable us to quickly assess and take samples of the basement rock as well as the cover. So what that means is we can explore this area far better than it has been explored in the past, quite quickly and quite a lot more cheaply than companies that have ground with much deeper cover and they have to drill it. So our approach is really to follow up on some of the historic anomalies that have never been drilled using these backpack drill rigs and power auger rigs that we can get across the countryside in the same way as you would in Australia use a RAB or an air core rig. So we're getting a piece of diamond core from the bottom of the hole in up to sort of 10 meters depth of cover that we can then analyze with multi-element geochemistry and spectral mineralogy and all the other techniques that we use to identify the mineralization at depth if we don't necessarily get gold in the first hole. And we can cover large areas of ground really quickly. So for me, the project, all of the existing resources, 840,000 ounces, sit within 15 strike kilometres of the central zone. So you can see in that image in the background there at the moment, the call out shows the majority of the existing resources. The grey area is all of the existing tenements, and on the bottom diagram you can see the coloured prioritised targets that we have along the entire 120 kilometre strike length. All of the drilling on the project, with the exception of 20 holes, has happened within 15 kilometres of that 120 kilometres strike length. So the grey image you can see there with the pink dots are all the drill holes. So the vast majority, almost 90% of the tenement package has not seen any systematic drilling whatsoever. It's a huge opportunity for us.
Yeah, it looks like you're only just getting started, and some of those numbers below that grey area seem to be very strong. Has that surprised you, Warren? And if I could just go back a step as well, how did you come across this project? Because you've had a lot of experience all over the world, lots of different projects. What was it, the fact that Newfoundland is just, because I would suggest that the majority of people listening today and in the future will say Newfoundland never even really came across it. It's not something that we've looked at. Certainly not something that's been in front of my radar at the moment. What was it that you looked at and said, wow, this has got potential to be a world-class area?
Yeah, Kerry, look, I've been consulting for the last 5 years and seen a lot of projects, and made a decision it was time to come back onto the client side and run a project, because I was kind of getting a little bit sick of giving advice that wasn't taken by the clients. And, you know, when you poke your head up after you've been around for a while, you know a good project when you see it. And this opportunity popped up. I did my due diligence in the same way Ian did, looked at the project and thought, look, if I'm ever going to make a world-class discovery, this is the project that's going to give us the opportunity, right? If I went anywhere in Western Australia, I'd have to be seriously lucky to come up with a new idea in an area that's been heavily drilled like most of the Western Australian goldfields have. I mean, you know, any project you look at in the goldfields is already peppered with RAB-EC, or it might not have deep diamond and RC holes, but a lot of the early work's been done, and you've got to come up with a pretty brilliant new idea to have the sort of opportunity we've got here, where there's been no drilling, no effective sampling of basement. We're on a structure you know, we've got 840,000 ounces, but there's 4 million ounces, 50 Ks northeast of us with Marathon, and no exploration done between the two at all on the structure that in terms of drilling basement targets. All of the discoveries have been made from outcrop, and most of the ground is not outcropping. So it really is, I guess, one of those rare opportunities where the obvious work hasn't been done, let alone the smart work that we can do on top of the obvious.
Are you getting me all excited now? So do you see that this is fairly near surface, or do you think you can find some major deposits in a sort of a deeper, with deeper drilling, or are you just going to drill surface at the moment?
Look, at this stage, there's so many opportunities near surface that unless you get onto something that you follow to depth that has amazing grade, there's no need to drill deep at the moment. We've got a lot of ground that we really need to test within that top 100 metres or so. And in fact, almost all of our existing resources sit within open pittable depths, maximum 200 metres, most of them within 100 metres of surface, right? So it shows that there's really good grades, and the exploration announcement that we just put out the other day, you know, 18 metres at 11 grams per tonne gold from, 8 metres from surface, 7 metres from surface, downhole. Phenomenal. Yeah. You know, the Angus discovery that we announced back in September, I think it was, early September, you know, again, that was circa 50 gram metres within 40 metres of surface. So there's so much opportunity close to surface at the moment. Our focus really is on exploring that near surface, and we'll chase the deeper stuff as it comes along, you know, over time.
Thanks, Warren. Ian, I just want to come back to you in terms of the jurisdiction and a place to do mining. I want to find out what Newfoundland's like to do mining. Are they warm and friendly towards you? That's number one. And number two, how well funded are you for this drill program? What are we looking at in terms of funding, and where are you going to go? I know you're talking about doing a lot of drilling. Warren's just spoken about that. But let's talk about, is it a good place to be mining, and are you well funded?
Thanks, Kerry. Are you sure you don't throw a third question in, so it can be one question in 3 parts, as quite
as Keith would say.
Yes, yes. So you got one question in 2 parts, and I'll answer the second part first. So cash in the bank end of December was just over $8 million. Okay. Because we're in Canada, we raised money in 2020 using the Canadian charity flow-through model, which allows us to raise capital at a 45% premium to market. So we raised $8.7 million at 40.5 cents when our share price was trading at 28 cents. So from a shareholder dilution perspective, it's a fantastic model.
So, sorry, Ian, if I could just interrupt, how does that work? So just explain that a little bit more. So you raised the money through a scheme that's available in Canada, not Australia.
A Canadian tax structure that allows companies that are spending the money in the in agreed areas. So for the area we're in Newfoundland, to do exploration, to raising money for pure exploration spend, we can raise money at a 45% premium to market. Because the investors get tax benefits from supporting those companies. So if you think about it, as a junior company, we get well funded. We spend the money in Newfoundland, which allows the exploration, the drilling companies and the geologists in country to get jobs and keep their jobs. And the charities that are involved in this charity flow through also get donations coming to them through this whole structure, so they stay well funded. So it's a brilliant model, and I wish the Australian government would take a closer look and replicate them. So that's how we raised the money. So we raised 8.7 million in July last year, and we've got $8.1 million today. So we're doing exploration very cost effectively. In terms of the local support in the region, historically, Newfoundland economy has been based on fishing and forestry. Fishing stocks have been fished out, and so the local government recognizes that exploration and mining can be the backbone of their industry, of their economy going forward. So they're very supportive of exploration activities and very supportive of project development activities. There's a blueprint document for Newfoundland where they would like 3 new mines in development in the next 5 years. Marathon Gold is the most advanced, and that project should be built or start being built in the next 12 months. We like to believe that we are one of the 3 because of the 840,000 ounces, we've already done a scoping study. 500,000 ounces of the 840,000 ounces is mineable. The payback is just over 12 months. The operating costs are around $800 US an ounce, so very good margin gold, simple capital, and it's a 7-year mine life. But given the exploration that Warren's spoken about, we're not pressing the button on developing at the moment. We're chasing further exploration to add to the resources. But on the back of that, the government is very supportive. They can see exploration work going on. They can see potential development. Our project is 25 kilometers away from a deep water port at Port of Basques. So any infrastructure we need brought in to build a mine is right there. There are warehousing facilities at that port. There's sealed roads going up to our camp. There's telecommunication infrastructure, power provided at 6 cents per kilowatt hour. And that comes from hydropower on the mainland. So you tick all the boxes. So supportive government, supportive local towns and people. All the people we're employing at the moment are from Newfoundland. So they're keen to have the jobs and job security. And then obviously you're in Canada, which is one of the sought after jurisdictions for natural resources, exploration and development anyhow. So you're in a very safe jurisdiction, very supportive jurisdiction, and then you've got very good prospectivity along the belt. So the stars have aligned in the region. Yeah.
Well, you sound like you're pretty excited, and I've known you for a while, Ian. We've got 30 seconds left. Either Warren or Ian, why should investors get excited right now?
This is an opportunity for investors to invest in the most sought after area in Canada, in an undervalued ASX company with very good board and management. Warren, final word to you, my friend.
Looking forward to the big discovery this year, hopefully.
Lots of drilling and using technology to make sure you find it at the right time. Warren and Ian, thanks for joining us today at the Virtual Gold Conference.
Thanks, Kerry.
Thank you, Kerry.